Regalophiles. I'm Annie, and you and I are about to bake the most regal thing to ever come out of this kitchen, the Queen's banana bread. A former Buckingham Palace chef released his go-to recipe that he served Your Royal Highness and family, of course. This banana bread is loaded with fruits and nuts, which makes it moist and delicious, but if you have a pick-your eater on your hands, don't worry, because so did the royal family. Turns out there was a completely different version of this banana bread topped with a caramel frosting that was served to the royal kiddos. But today we are eating like queens, and the queen clearly had a more dignified palate. And stay tuned, because not only will we be eating like the queen today, we will also be drinking like her and whipping up her go-to gin cocktail. And y'all are just gonna have to put up with my awful British accent along the way. Now, I looked at the bananas I had today and they were not quite as ripe as I was hoping. So I'm trying out a trick to ripen them quickly by putting them in a 300-degree oven on a sheet pan, still on the peel, for an hour and seeing how that works. Holy heck, that worked too well. Oh my goodness. Okay, starting with my oven preheated to 350, I am going to take a loaf pan and grease it with some cooking spray. Then, just for backup, line it with some parchment paper. And all the measurements for this recipe are gonna be in ounces, so make sure you whip out your handy dandy scale to get everything right. 8 ounces of self-rising flour, 4 ounces of softened butter. I'll cut it into chunks. Plop. And just a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. A little more. So I'm just gonna work the butter in until I get a fine kind of wet sand texture. Meghan Markle actually has her own banana bread recipe that she has not released to the public, but supposedly it involves chocolate chips and ginger. Do with that what you will. They must have been just cranking out banana bread at the palace. All right, now it's all crumbled up, mixed in. To this buttery mix, we'll add 1 ounce chopped walnuts, 2 ounces of dried cherries, 4 ounces of golden raisins, and 6 ounces of sugar. Mix that all up until totally coated. Look how the sugar just attaches to those fruits. Okay, now we will make a well in the center, which really just means a hole, and add in 2 eggs. I'm so excited about these eggs because they have like neon orange yolks. They're so pretty. Now for the main event, I have a pound of ripe bananas here. I'm having pumpkin puree flashbacks. I'm so gross now. Back to my main bowl. Mix in the eggs in my well. Add in the mashed banana. Slowly. Last step, a teaspoon of vanilla bean paste, which if you don't have, you can substitute vanilla extract, as I will do today. Because it's just for flavor, it'll be a 1-to-1 substitute. And mix away. I've never had a banana bread with fruits in it, but apparently it is the secret to keeping this moist for weeks and weeks after it's made. I love that you can see those little beads of butter in there. Into my greased loaf pan. All right, smooth it out. And this week on Bread Week, no soggy bottoms here. This will go into my 350-degree oven for 45-ish minutes, and I will test it with a toothpick. Cheerio. Time for the Queen's cocktail. It uses this Dubonnet Rouge, Grand Aperitif de France. It is a fortified wine, pretty strong and pretty sweet. And the only thing beyond that is gin. And I went with Gordon's gin because it is London dry, so maybe they also drink it in London. So we're gonna do 2 parts Dubonnet to 1 part gin, shake it up in my little mixer, and have ourselves a little tea time, happy hour style. To garnish the Queen's cocktail, you can either use an orange or a lemon. So I'll be using a lemon. And you can either cut a really fine little slice, like so, or you can make a little, what do you call them? Curl. A little lemon curl? That's what we'll call it. Just by cutting out the inside of that flesh. No, that's not what I want. I'll try and cut a little curl. No, I don't like that either. Okay, skip it. All you bartenders out there, please send me some tips. Okay, sticking with the basics. Drop that in, and it still looks beautiful. I love that ruby red color. Okay. I like that more than I expected. You definitely get some sweetness from the fortified wine, but it's not overwhelming. It's a nice balance, but it's not bad. Like a fruity martini a little bit. I'd like to point out that this is a pretty strong little drink. You got fortified wine, already strong, and then you add gin, and that's it. You go, girl. Now, I've got my cocktail, my bread is in the oven, and I can go catch up on season 3 of The Crown with a clear conscience before starting season 4. Smells amazing. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I've never seen a banana bread this color. I mean, that is golden. I guess I'm used to seeing it like a really dark brown and grainier, but this is just gorgeous. So I'll let this cool for about 20 minutes and then dig in. My banana bread has cooled, and I should wrap this up in some plastic wrap and stick it in the fridge where it will last for up to 3 months, but I can't put it away before having a slice. Easy removal, check this out, it's so satisfying. Let's dive in. It's the time I wish I had a bread knife. See that fruit filling, all the nuts, and dang, this thing is moist. I think this needs a little pata butter. Now this is still warm, people, okay? I'm not saying try this at home, but I couldn't wait any longer. That bread is rich. That is delicious. It is so buttery and dense and just, oh, comfort. But the fruit adds a nice tartness, and you definitely get a chewy bite, some texture. I will absolutely be snacking on this for the next 3 months, if it lasts that long. You may have had your fill of banana bread in 2020, but I promise you, this loaf is hearty and flavorful and just super comforting. And with a pat of butter, Make sure you are keeping up with all things Allrecipes by following us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And long live the Queen! And all the measurements for this recipe are 8 ounces of self-route. Time for the Queen's. Fortified wine is higher alcohol than regular. Just pause it for a sec.